Good afternoon, folks, and welcome back to the channel. Today, Train Sim World 6, Stuttgart. Brand new DLC from Dovetail Games, released today, and we have some new trains. We've got the BR140. We've got 20 new train stations and 51 kilometres of route, ranging from Stuttgart to Heilbronn. The route itself, as I say, set in the year 2000, so 25 years ago. Historic route, historic traction, some of the newer stuff on there as well. But yeah, I thought we would do a freight run. It's going to take roughly 40 minutes. Hopefully, you'll join me for a proportion of the journey, and we'll try and locate some facts and look for some interesting stuff along the way. So, without further ado, let's see what a catastrophe we can have along the way. So, we are starting with an 830 ton auto rack train. So this should be quite a interesting thing to drag along the line. We've got an old school tap changer in the BR140. So we're sat on a red light at the moment. So let's have a look at the map. We are in Kornwestheim. So massive freight yard. What else have we got on the map? Lots going on, lots and lots going on here, and then we've got, I think it's Stuttgart down the bottom. So anyway, I heard a noise, so we must be getting ready to get set up. So we'll get the reverser in, get some power to the train. And we are waiting for something. So while we're waiting, let's just have a quick look at the train itself. So, DB BR140, we've got some nice buffer details. A little bit of weathering on the actual unit itself. Looks like we can walk through the train. And then we've got the auto racks, I think that's what they're called, aren't they? Auto racks or something similar, which have been in the game for some time. That would be the horn. So as we're looking, we press the space bar at the same time we get the horn. Nonetheless, we shall proceed. We are on a green light. I'm going to turn PZB on just so that we get some disasters along the way. Now, do I need to put it into... Isn't there another mode? Let's just have a quick look. I might be in the right place. We could be in the wrong place. I didn't know if there was a... Is it up here? Brake mode. That's what we wanted. I believe it was M, PZBM, which I understand is for freight. I think it lowers the speeds. Correct me if I'm wrong. So let's get some juice in the train. And we are off. So for those joining, what's the channel about? Well, I try to just give a fairly candid response to what I see. I don't profess to be for or against anything particular. I'm aware there's pros and cons to many of the things that I'll feature on the channel, but I just try to reflect on what I see, share my own thoughts. We'll go from there. So this route itself, I understand this is one of the busier, or if not busiest, freight corridors in Germany. I'm sure, and I'm welcome at any point to be corrected. The DB140, I understand they've captured some of the sounds, but some have been synthesized from previous areas. So there is a list of that on the DTG News website. But we're not going to review as review. We're just going to drive enjoy, have a look around. And one of the first things which has just jumped out at me as we let the freight train pass is, let's just have a look over here. One of the busiest freight yards. One of the busiest freight yards. One of the busiest freight yards. So as you can see, draw your own conclusions. The autumnal trees look spectacular in what is one of the busiest freight yards. So let's jump back in the cab and we will see what else we see on the journey. So we can speed up a little bit now to 100 kilometers an hour. See what we can see on the main line. I'm going to have to be careful here because I'm a little bit like a magpie, that if I see something shiny I go and look at it, and that is very normally just as you're approaching a yellow signal which needs a PZB acknowledgement. So we've got 30 kilometres as the crow flies to go, but we're going to loop around a little bit, I believe. So we'll have a look and see what stations we pass through and what we can share. So we are gathering up a bit of speed. I believe this is where we're going to start joining the main lines. Here we go. So I'm guessing, looking at the HUD in the top right hand corner, we're going to have a couple of track changes, and we're already speeding, so do not expect anything prototypical from this driving experience, because we're going to go flying over these points now. It's yeah, well, at least we can see the suspensions moving. I am pleased nothing has fallen off. Whoever has strapped that down has strapped it down suitably well. So we are slowing down still. We will try and pay a little bit more attention, perhaps. Still waiting to slow down. We need to get down to 40, so let's take the brakes off now. That should be sufficient, and let's just have a quick look at this station. See what we can see. Some nice detail, lots going on around the station, so it's good to see that we've got that extra piece around the outside. So that's Ludwigsburg station, and have I tripped something now, because we're slowing right down and we've got no power. Right, we have failed. We've done something. Yeah, okay, so we're 5 minutes in and we've had a catastrophe. We've got no PZB warnings, so we'll acknowledge them all anyway, but let's just check. Right, I heard a clunk. Here we go, we're rocking and rolling. Thank you, Ludwigsburg. So apparently Ludwigsburg Station began planning and construction in 1844. So there's a small little factoid. Let's get back up to speed, because otherwise this service is probably going to take 6 to 8 weeks, and Christmas will have passed. So let's go. I don't actually know what the PZB speeds are. I had it in my mind it was a maximum of 50 miles an hour, 120. I mean, I can't see that if we're dragging freight we should be going along particularly faster. One of the things you'll notice as well with this particular route is there should be a lot of incline changes, just because of the very nature of the route. And I was watching the preview stream the other day, and I believe there was a reference to good LiDAR data which has supported that. So, I mean, that is good because, again, it just adds that variety into what's happening, what you're looking at. Although, 10:15 in the day, and it looks quiet. Is this like one of these train every half-hour routes? Let's see where we go. So we've got 27 kilometres left to Heilbronn. There we go. What's that, 423? Possibly. So the 140 feels fine to drive. It feels like it's got a bit of weight to it. You know, it feels like it's responding well to what I wanted it to do. I think sometimes, certainly, and we're probably talking a couple of years ago here, it just the freight trains didn't feel like they was ever struggling. It was just, yeah, let's just crank it up and off we go. And what sticks in my mind from Sherman Hill was there was one particular service. It was a grain service, 13,000 tons that you had to drag up that hill, and banking come on, all the locos working cohesively. Slight bit of snow on the rail, you'd get most of the way up the hill, stall, game over, you were done. Sand, bump into power, you just could not get that thing moving. And that was one of the things where I really started to enjoy freight and understand a little bit more about how some of the nuances of simulgraph are working. And Clinchfield, I believe that had a similar experience. I think it was one of the journey modes, whereby you was in the F7, I think it was. Was it the F7? It was either the F7 or the SD40, which is basically the two trains, isn't it? So I've kind of negated that comment, but nonetheless, it was an absolute pain to get the train moving up the hill and through the first tunnel. And once you was through it, you was golden. But just getting that train above 2.5 miles an hour so that it didn't wheel spin as much, that was probably one of the most enjoyable challenges that I've sort of seen in the game. And in a loose way, that's where I'm kind of going with the freight side, that it just makes it more interesting. So let's have a look at this station. That's the allotments. So we've got another interesting one. Now that's a quite an interesting building. I guess that's something that you can walk down into. So where are we now? This is Tam Station. I've noticed as well with the train, it's got a slight bobbing up and down with the suspension. So again, that's always good. It just adds that extra immersion. So Tam Station was opened in 1877. Apparently serviced by the S5 trains. We're speeding a little bit, so let's just slow down because we've got a reduction coming up, and we've got a yellow light on the signal, so perhaps we're going to need to acknowledge a PZB. I don't know. Have I disabled? Oh, I've not turned PZB back on. Now I've broke it. Should have done that beforehand. So, lesson there, folks. Don't turn PZB on partway through. We'll turn it off. I don't quite... I was trying to turn it on without it stopping the train. Can we get some power in? We're going to stop. Right, we're going to stop. I think we're going to get held anyway. And we'll resume the journey under the duress of PZB. I did say at the beginning of the video there would be a catastrophe, and this is a introductory element towards that, because it will be sod's law, will spad right at the end or something. So let's get this stopped, and then we can get it started again, hopefully. There's that elevation change. Right, we'll acknowledge, and we should be able to. Let's just get the brakes off. Right, we'll take some power. See that wheel spinning now? Let's have a look outside. That'll be that front axle, I suspect. Many sparks. Although, it's dragging it, so let's just leave it to do its thing. Oh, we're going downhill, that's why. So let's just be a bit more gentle on the throttle. There we go, it's taken the weight. I think that's wheel spinning again. Interesting. Second train. Likes to wheel spin. Or is that just compressor? Let me know in the comments what you think. I'm probably talking rubbish here. So we're in a restricted area at the moment. We're coming up to a red light. Although we are coming up to a new station, so let's have a look. We're obviously going to get held here. I'm guessing there's... I'm assuming there's something behind us that's going to hold us. Start taking some speed out, because otherwise what's going to happen is we're going to get an emergency brake again. So we've got a red light up here that we need to wait for. And then we can have a look and see where we are. Got another 140 coming towards us, I believe. Let's just get this stopped. That's at 111. Passenger service. Stay below 50. We shall. So, what do we have here? We've got blue buildings. We've got passengers. Now that's good to see, because sometimes you go into some of these stations and there's just no one. We've got PIS. It is not Ausgang station. Now we do have passenger announcements, so that's good, because I know that's one of the core features. Right, we are green lit to go. There we go, we get that little shudder as it takes a bit of strain. Brakes are still releasing. We are going to be off. It's interesting, if you look at the HUD at the top, 4 kilometers an hour, and if you look at the speedo, we're doing nearly 20, so I'm not too sure where the difference is there, but we need to stay below 24, I suspect, until we pass this signal. So there's no hurry. We shall creep our way out the station. I don't know if we needed to acknowledge, but we shall acknowledge. Now, I need to stay below 25. So it's telling me, according to the HUD at the top, the line speed is 60 kilometers an hour, but we are not near that. There we go, safe to release. We can go to 60. So let's see where we are on the map. So there's obviously, you've got the stations in the middle, platforms in the middle, and we are continuing north, I guess. So let's get this sped up. Hopefully we don't trip the MCB. We've got the 120 kilometre signs there for players that aren't aware. The 12. Chuck a 0 on the end, that is your speed limit. Your target to hit. So 22 kilometres to go. We should get the so we've got the 80 kilometre increase just now, and is that wheel spinning again? Look, 100 kilometres an hour. It is. This train is a beast. It lives in a state of perpetual wheel spin. So let's see if we can just increase the speed a little bit more without it spinning its wheels and make our way northwards. So we've nearly reached the 100 target, and it looks like we need to stay around there. We are going downhill though, so let's just take some power out, because otherwise we're going to be in a braking situation. So it looks like we're in the countryside now. What can we see? We can see trees. So we've got a speed reduction to 100 kilometers, so that's fine. We're already doing 97. So I didn't really want to do this video as a review as such, because I don't feel I'm qualified to do it as an honest review without it just being another moan about this or praise that, you know, and there's many others that will do it far better than me at the moment. But what I did hope to do was just give people just an honest representation, really. Just I'll play it and call it as I see it. If we get it right, we get it right. If we don't, we don't. So far, I'm quite impressed with the different scenery that we've seen. I understand this route runs through a valley of some description. We've got a temporary speed restriction coming up for 70, so we need to scrub some speed. Yeah, I think there's a good variety of scenery that I've seen at the moment. I like the fact there's big freight yards. Go back to the beginning if you want to see how busy those freight yards are, mind you. But I do think the stations look really well modelled. There's some really good stuff in the stations that I've seen so far, and this is kind of my first almost end-to-end of the route, so I'm looking forward to seeing what else we can discover together. I've proper took a lot of speed out of that. Safe to release, but we are coming up to, according to the HUD, the 70 restriction, so we don't want to go tanking along too much. But we do want to get moving. We want to complete today. I don't know what that E board is. Does anyone know what that is? The one that was just on the side of the track there, just with the letter E on it? If anyone does, pop it in the comments, I'd be interested. And likewise, if anyone's got any thoughts about this route thus far, I'm really keen just to understand, what do other people who just play it, who just literally want to sit and play it, think of the route? Let's have a quick look at this station, see what the modelling's like here. Beisigheim. So I'm guessing that's a collectible, possibly a map. We've got the Ausgang, the exit. So that is just a quick subway. We go outside the station. These cars, this is one issue or problem, or just feedback. Just that they all look like washed out pastel cars, and like the amount of old Mercedes and just the modelling of these cars, I just think that that's one area where DTG really need to kind of just revisit and refresh. You know, these are the same cars that have been around for 6 years now, and they just look tired. They stand out, they don't really suit the routes, and it's, yeah, it just kind of takes a little bit of the nicety away from some of the ambient detail that the teams work so hard to put in. We've got some rain, so let's use the window wipers. Now I see, is that a river or is that a lake? Some nice water textures. That looks like a significant body of water. Interesting. So let's try and get up to speed. We're going to be passing through another station in a moment. We'll have a quick look around. It feels busy. It feels... I feel like I'm going through different places, and that's one of the things that to me is quite important. If you take routes like Cane Creek, for example, it was just, and I know it's a desert, so it kind of is what it is, but it just seemed there was nothing to look at. And Sherman was a little bit the same as well. It just, and I think one area where that could be improved is actually have some NPCs outside of the station areas. I think one of the routes that did that really well was the Mild May route. So if you haven't played it, I would absolutely recommend checking it out. Busy London commuter route. It's got a mix of freight, got some new trains in there. But what you will notice as you go through London, you'll see NPCs, or obviously people for the non-computational of us, and you'll see people just walking across bridges. There's some really nice dioramas where people are sat having coffees, and I think there was I don't know if it was an outdoor bar or something on top of a building, so like random little bits like that. But as you were driving through, you felt like there was a living world around you. Another example would be the Blackpool to Preston route. So when you come out of Preston, head off towards Blackpool North, if I recollect correctly, there was a area which was being worked on by like road workers or something like that, and you would see, again, just people outside the stations, which added just a nice extra to the route. So, where are we now? Let's have a look. That's a big building. Containers, that would be nice to see. Again, just see some logos on stuff, whether or not they're manifested, you know, slightly different ones. And yeah, these cars, just not sold on them. Busy looking station though, so that's good. Again, it's not devoid of people. Got a diorama here. So what do we have? Is that an Amazon delivery? I'm not too sure. We're speeding. Let's get back to the cab. So we are back in the countryside. So I would be interested to know what are people's thoughts of the route? You know, from what you've seen, whether that's here, whether that's elsewhere, is it doing the right thing? Should there be more on it? What's your thoughts on the scenery? And the cars. The cars are an issue for me. I don't know why I've got the tap changer fully open and it's doing nothing, so obviously we need to close it, and it's still doing nothing. Have I tripped a circuit breaker? Why have we lost power? I don't understand. We're in forwards. Tap change is set to 0. Circuit breaker's closed. Pantograph is up. Air compressor's on. Train heating we don't need. I don't understand why that's not drawing any power. Here we go. Maybe it was just I didn't put enough on. Right, let's get moving again. We're coming through another station. This is a learning curve to me for this train, so yeah, forgive me if it is just painful to watch, because I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm basing this on my usage of previous German trains. So I see a yellow warning symbol, triangle with a 9, so we're going to be slowing down. What have we got here? Is that another 111? I think it is, possibly. Creep through this station slowly so as to not draw attention. Let's just keep a bit of power on. Time is 10:37 and we are still making our way up the valley. I believe we're heading north. There's our 90. I think one thing to flag as well, I've just seen this, is the wet textures. You know, when you see it like that, and I think some of this is the eye. It's something to do with the clouds, and I don't know if it's like the way it meters the light, but whenever you get a cloudy day in TSW and it's raining, suddenly the sky blows out totally unless you look up at it. When you look back down at the ground, you'll see it blows out again. So there's that element which is a little bit, it's not working as it should. And then I don't know if this is a road or a path, but I always think some of these things, they look like toothpaste has been spread on the floor, or plasticine. I mean, that to me, it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't look right. It doesn't feel right. So there's definitely something where it's. I'm assuming it's the lighting engine is doing something very bizarre with the wet textures. But we're not here to talk about the rain. We're here to look at the route. And in looking at the route, I can see some green poles and trees, autumnal trees still, because the season has not changed since we began the route. So we're 6.9 kilometres away now, so let's have a look at the map very quickly. Okay, so that's not took that long to meander our way up. So I was expecting that to take a lot longer. So that's not too bad. Quite a short and snappy experience to some extent. He says 35 minutes later, I guess. But if you've made it this far, thank you. Appreciate that. And you know, if you drop us a like and a subscribe, it'd be much obliged. And I will try and do some more with the Stuttgart to Heilbronn route, just to have a look and see what else it offers. Try some different things. I'm keen to have a look at night lighting, possibly snow as well, because snow's always one which I find very, very up and down at times. You know, some routes it's on the money, other routes it's drawing in funny. It doesn't always lay on the platforms, you know, as you might expect. So yeah, there's other bits that I'd like to poke around on, and potentially we can do that together. We'll try and get a couple of videos out over the course of this week, just to show the new route really. It's something different. Right, we are speeding a little bit. So let's just scrub some speed. So for anyone wondering about frame rates, it's a Lock 60 I'm running. So we're running on a 4080 Super, i9 14900, 32 gig of RAM, and we're running it at 4K. So yeah, we're locking it at 60, in part down to it's an older TV that we're running on, so 60 is the limit. And look at these wet textures, like that. Yeah, that's the bit for me. Is that snow? Is that rain? Is that blown out? So that's for me is a real key thing to try and get resolved, because it just doesn't look or feel right. If I left the brakes on here, because again, I've done something peculiar, so let's just try and put some power back in. There was no PZB warning, but I don't know if I'm losing power, because obviously I'm out the train and I'm not looking. So the tap changer goes up to 28, we're at 26, and nothing's happening. And I can't see that I've overloaded it because we wasn't in the, you know, it wasn't going uphill. So let's just try and close that again. See if those needles in the middle move. So again, we've gone up to notch 24. Nothing's moved. Why? What's going on? If I've done something wrong, pop it in the comments, because this is a little bit perplexing. Again, pantograph is up. We've got the horrible wet road. MCB is closed. We're in Ford, so let's just knock it out and knock it back. Oh, we've cocked it up now anyway. We've got an emergency brake, so that might enable us to reset. But I'm really confused by that. I don't understand why that's changed. While we're here though, let's just take a moment to reflect on and look at those sleepers, the draw distance on them, but also just how they stand out. Again, I'm not convinced with how this game is delivering the wet experience. Right, let's acknowledge. Brakes are charging. So they need to get to 5 bar, don't they? I believe. So we're obviously waiting for that to charge down the length of the train. So, right. See, those brakes have only gone to 4 bar. Is that what they default to? So, we've released PZB. Right, there's... Right, she's wheel spinning straight away. So let's just put it in position 2. Is it wheel spinning in position 2? No. So that's good. So let's try and just put a bit more in. Right, we're moving. Let's pull in the slack. Clearly it's a heavy train to get moving because we're in notch 4. Let's pull the slack out of the train. Notch 5. I'm just trying to avoid the spin. Notch 6. And that's spinning on that other side, isn't it? So the adhesion's obviously a challenge in this weather. But that's now dropped off. So it's putting power through because it's wheel spinning. Let's just try and get it moving. Is that just wheel spin, or is that user error on my part that I'm doing something wrong? That feels very sensitive. So we are 4 kilometers from our conclusion. So let's reflect. I like the 140. I like the fact that we have freight yards. I'd like more if they were busy freight yards, but I guess there's some form of limitation to doing so. I guess if you fill the yards full of static stock, then stuff starts to blur. We know that's an issue. I guess that's challenging on the memory, having all that stuff to load in. So yeah, freight yards could be busier. I like the route. The route looks nice, but I do want to do it in different seasons of the year, and just have a look a little bit more where it's more pleasant. I mean, this is dull and grey and miserable, but it's good to see. It has shown that there's those differences in the adhesion physics. It has shown that actually this can be quite a challenge to drive. I like that. Stations are well modelled. I did say we wasn't going to do a review because I'm not a reviewer, so this is just a very vocalise what I've seen. So I think I'd really welcome people's thoughts with what's good. You know, is there anything you've seen in the video that looks like it needs further work? We've got the model, so that is the DBBR 140, and yeah, quite an interesting train to drive. A little bit of thunder there. So let's see if we can get this up to speed and get to our conclusion. We've got some signals coming up, so it looks like we're going to be reduced down to 40 anyway. But if we can get up to 40, that would be a treat. See lots of lights ahead. That suggests to me there's going to be many things happening. Let's acknowledge that 1000 hertz. Oh, I couldn't write it. I've acknowledged it too late. We got moving and then we've killed it. Beginning of the video, catastrophe. We said it, we called it, we've achieved it. Right, so let's just get the brakes off. Get the tap changer back to 0. Right, the brakes are okay, so let's just put a bit of power back in. I'm not going to go too much because that was spinning. We're going to use a bit of sand this time. See if that gets us moving a little bit more. Just taking the strain. Come on, girl. Pull. It's fighting us. Does not want to go. Oh, there's the train. I thought we lost the train for a moment. Oh, is it going to spin? It's spinning. See, it's spinning the rear wheel again. Let's put some sand down. Yeah, that's an interesting one to get moving, you know. It looks like we might have to do some more services in adverse conditions because it's a fighter. I wonder, I'm assuming this Zugkraft is the traction motor for each wheel. Is that right? Does that sound right? And we can see here, they're all doing different things. I'm going to try and get there now with no more issues. That would be an ideal solution. We've got the speed reduction there to 80 kilometers an hour, which I suspect we're not going to need. Looking at where we're going to be heading, we're going to be crossing the rails. We are moving though, so that is something. Let's give it a little bit more. Snaking our way across. A little spark there from the pantograph. There we go, we've crossed. See if we can get a bit more power through. Difficult train, difficult train, but enjoyable, really enjoyable. It seems, whilst we're under PZB and we've got stuff going on, it seems like a wise time to... oh, we can't walk through. Can we? Well, that's interesting. I thought we could walk through the train based on this. I was thinking the fact that we could see through here and it appears to be modelled that we could walk through. So, yeah, that's a new one. It's all modelled. So why is that locked off? Feels like we're going uphill. We're going to crest in a moment. Let's have a look at this. Because that looks like a big... It's a bit of an up and down, isn't it? I guess that... Is it a hump yard that we've gone into? I don't want to go too fast down here because when the train rate comes down. Although, now, let's see. This looks like another freight yard. Is it going to be a busy freight yard? Let's turn around. Stuttgart, one of the busiest freight corridors. Remember that. One of the busiest freight corridors. It's a bit, normally pretty busy. It's must be a Sunday maybe. I mean, we've got another auto rack train. And there we go, 5 frames a second there as that was loading in. Maybe that's why there's no freight in it. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. That's an interesting one. Freight, busy, not busy, no freight. Tell me your thoughts, folks. You've seen 2 freight yards on the route now. Where are they? There must be more than just auto rack trains, because I believe, and I might be wrong, I believe the area did coal and steel as well. So we've still got 1.4 kilometres. Let's get that 1.4 in the bag. Moved along. Yeah, it needs to be busy. It needs to be busy. Look. What have we got? So there's one train there. And we've got a few up here, which they look like passenger trains. So freight's dead. I like the route, but I've got to call out the fact that it's not there, is it? Not at the moment, unless there's more to come. I think, was there something about more to come? I'm not too sure. There's plenty this side. So, there we go. We've had a look. We've worked through a service together. We will do some more. You know, I want to kind of give it a fair and constructive playthrough to see what's available there. Yeah, first impressions are not all bad, but there's definitely some areas there that need to be mentioned and just reflected on. They are where they are. It is what it is. But what could it be? So I hope it's been useful. We've spent a bit of time together today. It's probably a bit of a long video, isn't it? But if you've made it this far, if you're at the end, fantastic. Thank you very much. Like, share, give it a subscribe. They all help. It kind of encourages me more to see when people are engaging, and just pop a comment on. Tell me it's crap. Tell me it's good. I'm on about me now. And yeah, it's all good feedback and stuff to work with. So for now, thank you very much, and we'll enjoy the last 100 meters in perpetual silence. Goodbye.